Hey New Life Church, this is Pastor Jake here. I am glad to be with you again as we continue our TRAC Bible reading plan. We are finishing the book of Genesis today. Congratulations, I'm happy for you guys. You guys made it through all 50 chapters. And the very last chapter today that we're going to be talking about actually gives an important message, a theological theme that we see is very important for the entire book of Genesis, because something that Joseph says in the very last chapter is a theme that we see is true throughout the entire book of Genesis. And so as we get to that theme, we need to remember what's happening. Right now, Joseph is second in command over all Egypt, and his brothers are there with him. And what happens is Joseph's father just died, and his brothers sold him into slavery, which is how he became second in command in Egypt. But then what happens is after Joseph's father dies, his brothers are worried that now Joseph is going to try to get revenge on his brothers for all the evil things that they did to him. And so they go to Joseph, they apologize, and they say, Dad wanted you to forgive us, so please make sure that in his passing you remember that he asked for you to forgive us. And Joseph's response is a message that is a theological theme that is true for all of Egypt. It's like the period mark at the very end of Genesis. And Joseph says this to his brothers in Genesis chapter 50, verse 19. He says this: "Do not fear, for am I in the place of God? As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring it about that many people should be kept alive as they are today. So do not fear, I will provide for you and your little ones." Thus he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. Joseph tells them, listen, what you meant for evil, God used it for good. And that's the theme that we can see is true throughout the entire book of Genesis. We know that in every story we see that there is some sort of corruption. There's some sort of destructive choice or something that happens that causes evil to make its way into the story. And what happens is every single time someone chooses evil actions, God turns it and he tries to use it for their good and their benefit. And that's incredible to me, to think about the countless times that God is so committed to his people that he is willing to use their evil actions and use it to try to bring about a good thing for them. And we also see something that's very true that Joseph says even after this. He says, God meant it for good to bring it about that many people should be kept alive. The things that the brothers did that were evil, selling him into slavery, God didn't just use it for the good of Joseph. God used it for the good of his brothers and everyone else. Because if we go back to the very beginning of the story, if Joseph was never sold into slavery, then he would have never worked his way up to be second in command. He would have never interpreted the dreams of Pharaoh to know that there was a severe famine that was coming. And if he never interpreted the dreams and the severe famine came, then everyone, including Joseph's brothers, would have died. So God used them selling Joseph into slavery to bring about their salvation, the very ones who sold them into slavery. And this is incredible because this is true for us today. This is so true to remember that even in our destructive actions, when we repent and when we turn to God, God desires to use every single thing that we've done for his good. I want you to know that God doesn't look at you the way that you might think that he looks at you, as some evil and destructive person. God looks at you with the same committed love that he had for Joseph's brothers. That although we make mistakes, that although we might act sinfully and intend evil things without realizing it, God desires for us to be saved from our own sinfulness. So what he does is he sends Jesus. Jesus is the one who brings us salvation. He gives us his son so that we remember every single time we've made a mistake, if we repent, if we ask for forgiveness, if we give those evil decisions over to the Lord, he has the power and desire to use it for our good. So today as we go, I encourage you this week, please be reminded that whenever evil things happen to us, God still desires for it to be used for our good.